Leading the way on air, online, and on the go. From WLWT, this is Issues.
Hello, I'm Jan-Michele Lemon Kearney of SESH Communications and the Cincinnati Herald. We have a lot going on today. A little later, we're going to talk about a really serious issue and a huge problem, homelessness, especially affecting children. We're also going to talk to the president of AKAs about a jazz brunch that's coming up. It's a scholarship fundraiser, really great event. I went last year. You're going to love it. First, we're going to talk to two women who have an accounting firm called APRO, and both of their names are April,
correct,
but it's
correct.
APRO, like APRO.
Right.
I love that.
It's a play on words.
So great. Okay, so this is April Ferguson,
yes.
and you are the president and CEO.
Yes.
Welcome. And April
Thank
Morrison,
you.
and
Yeah.
you're the chief operating officer.
Yes.
Well, first, let me congratulate you on opening a second office. So I figure business is booming.
Business is good. It's tough. You know, it's a fast market. January you're in, April you're out.
Right.
So we do other things to try and keep us busy. But yes, we have a second office.
That is so exciting. And so April, you're heading up that, and when I say April Morrison, you're heading up the second office, right?
Yes, I am. It's on Corain Avenue, 5556 Corain Avenue.
Okay.
It's a storefront office. We welcome anyone to come in and get more information about all the services we provide.
Okay, and the first office is located where?
Springdale, 260 Northland Boulevard. It's inside the CMC building.
Okay, great. So your clients, let's talk about who should consider your business for their accounting needs.
We service anyone from individuals to small and medium-sized businesses. Yeah, we try not to turn anyone down. We feel like we can help anybody with their financial situation.
Okay, and you started in 2004?
2004 in my apartment, yes.
Really?
Yes, 2004.
See, that's how a lot of growing businesses start, and it's really good because you don't have all that overhead.
Correct, yeah. So it went from that to you know, just in the office from January and April, then pack up our stuff, put it back in the garage, and then, you know, we were in the CMC building for 6 years, and then this year we kept saying, this is the year, we're going to expand. So it's been awesome.
And how did you two meet? April and April, that's pretty cool.
We met through a mutual friend.
Yes, we
he
did.
said, I would like for you to meet someone named April, ironically. So we met at the Springdale office and we hit it off right away. We were in there for about 2 hours talking. My background is actually nursing. So once we got together and discussed, I had been interested in accounting as well. We just kind of blended and meshed and ran off from there.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Now, I want to talk about the MBA program, Never Be Broke, or Never Broke Again.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
that would be MBB, right? Okay, so MBA, Never Broke Again. Tell us, and Linda Wright, who's your PR person, we love
she's
Linda.
awesome.
She promotes really fantastic businesses. So whenever she calls, we're there because Linda only promotes people who are really top notch. So she said you've got an interesting background story.
I do. So I grew up where my mother was a paranoid schizophrenic, and I had to take care of my brother and sister, and so you know,
that's tough. Oh,
we had to do a lot to survive. And so as I got older, I knew that education was definitely the key because I couldn't read until I was in the 6th grade.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't know that, but that's why I like numbers, because it was something different than reading that I could really hone in on.
Wow.
But so I knew back then that I really wanted to be somebody and to also educate others on reading, you know, writing, numbers, all of those
That's an inspirational
things.
story. And that just shows you should never give up on a child.
Never.
I mean, I can
Never.
imagine how tough it must have been for you in school all those years, because if you weren't reading until 6th grade, and you know, most kids are reading like kindergarten, 1st grade.
They are.
So,
and kids can be really tough on you. So it was really embarrassing for me at the time. But the reason why we give back, our business is all about educating others and making sure they understand their financial situation, just like it is in elementary school when you're trying to read. If you understand it, you know, no one can take education away from you. So it's
Right.
very important for us.
that is fantastic. So let's go with this MBA. So
Okay.
how does this work? Because this sounds wonderful. A lot of people have tax issues, credit issues.
Yes.
You do credit repair. You always
Yes.
see signs about that, but I'm like, what is that about? But you know,
Right.
there are legal ways of doing it, which you guys
Absolutely,
did.
and I'll let her take it. But what started this is that, you know, people come in and get their taxes done. They think you're an accountant, so you should know all these things about your financial situation. So they always would ask questions about credit, and then that's how we came up with the MBA program. And so I'll let her take that part.
So the Never Broke Again program is started as an educational tool for any individual whether they're low finances or high financial situations, it's a lack of knowledge. So some people, when they pull their credit report, or if they get denied for credit for some reason, they get a letter that says you can get a free credit report, and they get a piece of paper in the mail that has all these foreign words and terms on it they don't understand.
Right.
So the Never Broke Again program is to provide knowledge on how to understand your credit report, what the number means for you. Many people don't understand the lower your credit score, the higher your interest rate may be for purchasing a home or automobile or student loans. So we just try to get people to understand what their credit report reflects for them and how it can help their individual situation.
Yeah, it's kind of a paradox, isn't it? Because the worse your credit is, the more you have to pay when you don't have the money for it. So you get those with high credit scores, their interest rates are really low and they're paying less. And it's like, well, wait a minute, shouldn't that be reversed? But it's from the point of view of the lender, they're thinking the people with the low scores are the higher risk people, so you have to pay more for their services, right?
And it keeps people in a bind, you know, because you have to pay more, then you can't save, and so that's the important part.
It makes it worse and worse, right?
Yeah, so
better to so credit can be repaired.
Credit can be repaired.
And you guys have a program for that. Now tell us about this free workshop.
Okay.
And I understand that often people go to the free workshop and then join this MBA program.
They do. We try to give out as much information as we can because we want you to be able to understand what's going on with your credit so that you can, you know, once you come to us, the goal is to never be broke again. So we shouldn't see you a second or a third time. So I'll let
I like that. Don't come back because we're going to fix it.
Right. You're on your way up. You know, there's no coming back down.
I love that.
So our workshop is everything you need to know about credit. It's a free workshop. Our next session is June 4th. From noon to 1 at our Coleraine office.
And that's 5556 Coleraine.
Yes, yes it is. Yes it is. And we bring people in, we let them ask questions regarding their specific credit needs or generalized credit questions. So we give an overall review of credit and what it means for them and how the MBA program comes full circle. So once we help you fix your credit, and we help you rebuild as well, whether it be through credit cards or home loans or automobile loans, whatever it is that individual needs.
Okay, and so it's a free workshop. It's June 4th from noon to 1. People don't have to register, but we're hoping they call this number. What number is that?
Right, that's 513-448-1280.
Okay, 448-1280.
1280, or they can register on our website at aprilaccounting.com.
Okay, aprilaccounting.com.
Correct.
And we'll link you through wlwt.com. Thank you, April Ferguson and April Morrison.
Thank you so much.
Well, you guys must come back again. Really good information.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about a jazz brunch. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Okay, we're here talking with Pamela Williams Dial, because I knew her as Pamela Williams. Welcome. And you're president of the Alpha Kappa Alpha chapter, the Phi Psi Omega chapter.
That's correct.
Which is the newer chapter in town. But you guys, you've been around now since 2002.
Yeah. So we're new in terms of the relative to the Sigma Omega chapter, our older chapter, but we have roots in the community now.
You sure do.
Close to 15 years now.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long. Well, let's talk a little bit about Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority in general. Tell us the history there.
So Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded by students at Howard University, and the youngest was actually 15 years old, which is quite inspiring to me because they were in college at a time when for African Americans, the highest level of education that was attained was 8th grade. So the fact that they were in college was really inspirational and unusual. And they recognized that their position of privilege could not just be used for themselves, that it had to be about a greater good. And so that is kind of the backbone of our organization, and what we're all about is we were founded with the motto of service to all mankind, because our founders knew that their their attaining education, just their pursuits, could not just be for themselves. It had to be to reach a greater impact.
That's wonderful. And you do a lot of programs. One of them that the Jazz Brunch raises money for is a scholarship program. You help a lot of young people get to college and get through college, which is wonderful. And we're going to talk about the Jazz Brunch in a minute. But let's go back, because you were telling me about a focus program this year.
Yeah, so one of the things that we do with our Jazz Brunch, and this is our 15th year, is of course it is about raising money for scholarship, but we also shine a light on a community organization. And so we select a focus, we call it our focus program. So we select a program or community organization that we want to shine a light, because it's a very well attended event. We have
oh my goodness, you're not kidding.
Yeah,
I have to just jump in here and say I was there last year. It was at the Savannah Center, completely packed. I mean, just exciting and wonderful. The food was great, the entertainment, the whole thing was really.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I had the best time ever.
And so we try to make sure that it's a wonderful experience for our guests, and because we appreciate their support, because it is a fundraiser. It's a party with a purpose, as we call it.
Yeah, it is.
And we want to make sure that our guests have a great experience. And and because it is well attended, it is an exposure opportunity for community organizations. So we don't want to miss that.
Right.
So it's an opportunity to amplify our impact. So we're making an impact with scholarships, but then also with shining a light on the focus program. And this year, the focus program is the Midwest Project.
The Midwest Project. Okay,
and it's a newer organization, and it was founded by 3 young men, and I wanted to make sure I got their names right.
Okay.
Jason Chapman, Kenneth Bibb, and Rodrigo Montez Williams, and they're young African American men, and they founded the organization they were at a Bengals tailgating, and they noticed that they had plenty of food, but there's lots of homeless people around. And so they said, they were just talking, it's like, what if we just offer them food? And they got a lot of discourse. Some people would say, well, they might be offended. And other people were like, well, yeah. And so they just decided to step out and do it. And it was well received. And from that, it sparked a seed of that they can really make a difference in small ways.
I am so impressed that these guys were hanging out at a tailgate party and they're actually thinking about other people around them who are struggling. I mean, that is beautiful.
And it really it struck a chord with us, because it is similar, it's analogous to our organization, that as our young women that founded us saw their position of privilege, and these young men in essence had privilege because they have food, and they saw in essence an opportunity to give back. And you can give back in all kind of ways. It really just is a seed that becomes a rippling effect.
Right.
And so we want to take the opportunity to highlight the work that they're doing. They have 3 focus areas of education, wellness, and stopping violence. And so they have programs associated that they partner with schools to be mentors, and so we want to take the opportunity to highlight these young men, as well as our scholarship recipients. Over this last year, we donated not more than 2,000, but over $20,000 in scholarships. And so we are.
Oh, you guys were giving out a lot of scholarships. I was very impressed. Yeah, lots of young people were helped by Phi Psi Omega chapter, and that's wonderful.
And that's our intent for this year, is to give out even more to more deserving young students. And so that's really the intent of our Jazz Brunch. Our Jazz Brunch. It connects very well to our overall mission of service to mankind. And
so we're going to do Party with a Purpose. Tell us about the party. We've heard a little bit about the purpose, which is great. So we can all go and know that we're really serving a great purpose. Now let's hear about the party part of it.
So this year our theme is PPO Rocks the Runway. And it's an ode to blacks in fashion. And so we'll have lots of vignettes highlighting fashion. Have a runway, have a mini fashion show, just a lot of things. But we won't give up on our roots of jazz, so we'll weave in some jazz.
Yeah, so the music is always great.
So it'll be a mixture of jazz. So it'll also have a DJ to bring in the newer elements of our culture. So we expect it to be a really fun event, and not give up on our roots of jazz, but also bring in the elements of the freshness of fashion and all the innovation that goes along with that.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, tell us when it is, how to get tickets.
It is June 11th from 10:30 to 2 p.m. at the Savannah Center, and you can get tickets by visiting our website at www.aka-phi-psi-omega.org.
Okay, so we're going to link people to Phi Psi Omega through wlwt.com.
Okay, wonderful.
Any phone number to call, or is it better just to go online?
It's better to go on, because online you can also click for contact, and we can communicate it through that way. So it's better to do everything online.
Great. Okay, so June 11th, 10:30, Savannah Center. All right, it's going to be there. People better get your tickets early, though, because they do sell out.
Yes, we do.
They sell out, so don't miss it. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you for having me.
Stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment. We're going to talk more about homelessness. Welcome back. You know, we talked a little bit about homelessness when we were talking to Pam Dial in the last segment. This segment, we're going to talk to Dr. James Canfield, and he is with the University of Cincinnati, and let me get it right, College of Allied Health Sciences. And so welcome, Dr. Canfield.
Thank you.
So glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
And you have a special interest in homelessness, especially affecting children.
Right.
And I know you did a TEDx talk about a month or so ago, which you know I understand was fantastic. But let's talk about this whole homelessness issue. How's homelessness going in Cincinnati? Are we going up or down?
Well, childhood homelessness in Cincinnati is a major problem. Actually, an estimated 7,000 kids in the city experience homelessness. You know, when we think of homelessness, we often think of, you know, the person that stands with a sliver of cardboard and asks because anything helps, or the bag lady, if you will, that's kind of forever stuck like a Sisyphus, a homeless Sisyphus, forever pushing that cart.
Right.
But the average age of someone experiencing homelessness is actually 9 years old.
9?
9
Oh,
years
my
old.
goodness.
And 40% of the population are estimated to be children and families. Now, what's interesting about that is that unlike the person that's asking for change, or someone pushing the cart, or you know, if you go to a Reds game, someone asking you for change, those people are more visible. Children and families are actually what are considered invisible homeless. Like, we don't see them because a lot of times they're trying to make it day to day, and they're living day to day. So maybe they stay at a relative's house, maybe they crash on a couch, maybe they go here, or maybe what you'll see a lot is you'll see a mom put them with the aunt or uncle real quick just while she's trying to get things together, and then
and I'm thinking, as they're moving from home to home or shelter to shelter, they're also trying to get into school.
Absolutely.
And so they're jumping from school to school, or maybe just not even going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what we see sometimes is that homeless kids move about 7 to 8 schools a year.
Oh, my
2 to 3
goodness.
moves, 7 to 8 schools. Now, there is a policy, the McKinney-Vento Act, which is a major overarching policy on homelessness, but it has specific educational provisions that are designed to prevent that, designed to offer stability to homeless children in education.
Because going to a different school, changing schools 7 to 8 times a year, I mean, that's really a challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't allow, I mean, we always think the education context, it doesn't allow for continuity in education, it doesn't allow for some of those other things, but the social aspect as well is what most people forget. It's hard to make friends at a new school when you're moving. When you're leaving, and
when you're not sure where your next meal is coming from or where you're going to sleep. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you think that oftentimes we put homeless shelters or domestic violence shelters isolated away from the population, so there are no play dates at a shelter.
Right.
And when you think about how important play is, when you think about how important socialization is to a child's development, if you're not getting that, well, you're behind socially. So you're behind socially, you're behind economically, you're behind academically. It makes this almost insurmountable mountain to climb for these kids.
Yeah, it's really tough. I was at a Delta Sigma Theta, had a cotillion last weekend.
Very cool.
And one of the young ladies there, who was a debutante, but her mom talked about how they lost their house in a fire. I mean, they were just a middle class family, and they lost everything, and so they were homeless for a while. Her daughter somehow managed to maintain a 3.0 average, which, you know, we were all like standing and applauding for her. But you know, what a tough situation. So homelessness can really happen to anyone.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing, or that's the thing we don't like to think about. So we don't like to think that some of us are just a paycheck away. Some of us are, you know, an accident away from having this happen, with medical bills being what they are.
Right.
You know, you get into a car accident, or, you know, your house burns down and you get hurt from that.
So what's the answer? What kinds of things are we working on to make this problem, to lessen this problem?
Well, you know, that's the challenge of childhood homelessness and poverty in general.
And when you said 9 years old, I'm still thinking about that. Like, that's just awful.
Yeah, they're this tall.
Right, yeah.
You know? It's such a multifaceted issue that it's very difficult to have one cure-all. You know, it's going to have to take, you know, collaboration from many different sectors, many different areas to actually address homelessness. I always kind of say that a good approach is for agencies to focus on one aspect. So I'm a researcher. I'm an expert in childhood homelessness, and I evaluate programs all the time. And so, Upspring is an agency in Cincinnati that does fantastic work. And what they do is they address the academic aspect.
Okay.
And that's important. So they're not there to, get kids housed. That's another sector. That's someone else that's going to address it. They're going to address academics. And that's kind of the approach we need to take. It's collaborating with many others.
Are these agencies talking to each other?
Oftentimes they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're great relationships with others, but it also is going to take other ones. The business sector has to pay attention. The government sector, the city has to pay attention.
Right.
It's not just one aspect. You and I have to pay attention. We can't ignore what we don't see.
Right. Well, Dr. Canfield, and I was saying before, are we doing better or worse now? How are things? I mean, we've got these agencies. We have some programs out there. Probably not enough, but
both, because there are some great agencies that do great work in town, but we need more. Cincinnati is an interesting spot because 71, 75, 74, 275, 471.
Right.
It's an easy place to get to, and it's a big place. And if you go around, I live in northern Kentucky, and as you get further away from Cincinnati, there's not as many services. So you see people coming towards the city. So we have to respond to this. Cincinnati's this shining light in this area, and we have to respond to this. So we're doing both. We have some great agencies doing some great work, but we need more.
And I hear you calling for the business community to get more involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get criticism because they're not the enemy, but some people.
Depending on who's looking, yeah.
Exactly. Some people want to do that, but no, they're a vital, important part of the city. We need to expand into neighborhoods. They have control over a vast majority of what we do. I mean, they can really make the city a great place. I mean, you look at what's happened to the city. I mean, there's a tiara on the city.
Right.
And if businesses can do that, imagine what they could do for homeless children.
Right. So we call out for the businesses and for individuals and for other agencies.
Absolutely.
And I like your idea. So if everybody focuses on one segment, that we can all work together and do something about this. We can't have 9-year-olds out there homeless. It's just crazy.
Absolutely.
So Dr. Canfield, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yes.
All right, stick with us. We'll be back in a moment with some calendar events.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Bobo is not here today, so I'm going to give you some calendar events. I've got my glasses all ready to read. All right, we have the May Friendship Tea. May Friendship Day Tea, and it's called Finding Grace at the Table. That's going to be at Allen Temple on Reading Road in Seymour in the Old Swifton Commons or Jordan Crossing. The speaker is the Urban League CEO, Donna Jones Baker. That's on Saturday, May 7th at 11:30 a.m. Admission is only $15. Donna is a fantastic speaker. Don't miss that. Then we have the Spirit of America Awards Celebration and Banquet, and that's Tuesday, May 10th, 5:30 p.m. at the Hilton Cincinnati Netherland Plaza Hall of Mirrors down there on West 5th Street. Tickets are $60. Call 293-4621. And we've got All About Women presented by the Abercrombie Group, another wonderful event by Claudia Abercrombie. It's on Thursday, May 19th from 1 until 8 p.m. at the Paul Brown Stadium, Club East. Tickets are $125. For more information, call 733-1555. And don't forget, the Cincinnati Herald's Bright Awards are coming up May 21st. You can go online, and we'll see you then. Stay safe, stay positive.